So I'm here with another cadaver. My initial observations of this foot after cleaning it is it's actually got a really nice sort of conformation, very overgrown. Got these big, large, overgrown bars. We've got this very degenerated frog. Central sulcus is sunken way in. But in terms of proportion, everything is good. You know, it looks like this side and that side are very even. The way the heels have been worn, very even. A lovely thickness of hoof wall, and both sides are pretty evenly growing and pretty evenly worn. We've got a huge development, you know, a huge sole callus up the front here. This foot's been drying out for a couple of days, so it's much drier than it was when it first got here. If I was put this in water, or put it, you know, rest it out in the paddock again, this tissue would go all flaky and chalky, and you can see just with my hoof pick, this tissue wants to break off. It wants to come off, and you can see how powdery it is. Well, if that was wet, it would really stink. And it is infected with fungus and bacteria. So from the bottom, looking fantastic. If you let that foot hang, it's obviously got very even joints. All the other limb conformation throughout the rest of the limbs would be nice and square and even. All those joints nice and even. So hoof wear gives us a good indication on the angle of the rest of the joints, whether they're slightly skewed one way. If they are, we generally can see it in the wear pattern and the growth pattern of the foot. So all in all, this horse would have had reasonably good conformation. So I'm going to flip it over, because that's where the nightmare begins. It's most obvious anyway. Look at this crack. This crack goes way up to there. It's probably most severe up to about there, and what we can see is there's another one starting to form here. Someone's obviously tried to trim this horse. This looks like this front portion of the foot has been trimmed and rolled over, but it was a fair while ago, because it's all smoothed out, and you can see we've got a lot of excess growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually trim this foot up and prep it, and we'll take it from there. The reason why I trimmed the hoof wall without marking the white line is because I knew there was a lot of overdeveloped, well, callous sole, a lot of tissue to come off. So now I'm going to reduce the sole tissue. Which means I wouldn't be trimming this horse too short. And again, we want to leave on what is relatively healthy. We don't want to, you know, see how this has got nice and smooth now. doesn't look as chalky, it looks more waxy. And obviously for me trimming, I can feel the texture with my hoof knife, because now this isn't crumbling and breaking off. So I'm down to good healthy sole tissue. A bit more in this seat of corn, a bit more around the toe area till I can see the white line clearly. Nice. Take the tip of the frog off, so that's overgrown. Just going to go around the tip of this frog here, clean that up. You can go down as much to the point where you can see them, the frog and the sole blend together. Gives you a good guide on how deep the foot is. And very gentle at the back here because it's already deteriorated a fair bit, but it is necrotic and rotten, so I don't want to take as much of that dead tissue away as possible. So this is what you would consider a remedial trim, because we're providing remedies for various different problems. We've got the large overgrown bars, we've got the rotten frog, we've got this seedy toe crack in the front here. It's not a maintenance trim. We're not just balancing the foot up and maintaining a healthy foot, where we've got things that we're needing to do extra to help the recovery. Just saw that was all full of trapping dirt there, so we want to get down to the bottom of that. So that's about it for that part of the process. Wouldn't mind just cleaning this up a bit more. Very sensitive down the sides there, can be very sensitive, especially with these wet feet. There we have it. Now we can see what we're working with. Check that our heels are the same sort of height. So that's always good to check. And that's that for now. Okay, so we've got the workspace cleaned up. What I'm wanting to do now is explore this crack and go gently, take your time, sort of get a feel for how your horse is responding, whether or not it's tender, whether there's a reaction when you push in. But you know, you've got to use some muscle, you've got to get in there. Don't be afraid to get in there, but you know, be aware as you go. I want to scrape out as much debris as I possibly can this way. There we go. Starting to see the extent of what we're working with here. Okay, put the foot down and bring it forwards. That's what it's looking like from the back. So this is what we call seedy toe. It's a crack created from the hoof wall getting long, and the effects of leverage the hoof wanting to bend away. It finds a weak point and it creates a split there. This side of the hoof wall wants to grow and bend this way, this side of the hoof wall wants to grow and bend that way, and wherever that weak point is found, that's where you get a split. And then obviously all that stuff we've just pulled out is a combination of mud and dirt and muck and the dead tissue that's being eaten predominantly by fungus and bacteria. So fungus and bacteria, it loves anaerobic environments. That means it's moist but oxygenless. It's got not much oxygen. So by exposing it like this, you're already having a negative effect on the bacteria and fungus. It's dying, it can't live in that environment. However, when this foot goes back down, horse is going to walk straight back in mud and dirt, pack this full up, and it's going to become a breeding ground again for that bacteria. So the main thing we need to do is cut away the tissue, the hoof wall that's helping trap that dirt in there. That's going to allow the horse owner to be able to clean this out more thoroughly, and it's going to allow us to get right down to the root of where this infection starts. So that's what we're going to do in the next step. Take our half round nippers and just cut away some of the bulk of this hoof wall material. At this stage, you know, this is not hurting the horse one bit. Horse not quite at sensitive tissue yet, so we'll just take off the bulk of that. Where we're at, we can see it's travelling into the hoof wall tissue there, so we might as well take it off. There's no point of it being there all infected. We want to get as much of the infection out as possible. Excellent. I'm going to have a look at it, what it's like from this side. You see, now we can get deeper into this crack. Now we're starting to get to a point where it could potentially hit sensitive tissue, so again, go with caution. See how chalky and rank all that tissue is. Have a look down, see if you can wiggle any more out. A small little screwdriver is good, or a little nail like this, and just dislodge as much of that as you possibly can. Bring the foot forwards, have a look. So we can see this crack's going to go right up to here. There is a big column that's going into there, so you know, we're starting this remedial process, we're starting this rehabilitation trim. You know, this horse is unlikely to be in work, so you know, once we start the process, we might as well start it well, and we might as well get right to the root cause of it, because you know, there's no point doing half a job. So away we go with the half round hoof knife. Just start working our way back up this crack. You can use an electric Dremel, some people do, if your horse can tolerate the sound and the noise. I tend to use my hoof knives, but what I'm going to do for the sake of this video, I'm just going to crack on and show you where I get to as I go along. You need a lot of experience to do this, and you know, but pay attention when you're looking, you know, watching your vets, when you're watching a farrier do this. You know, pay attention. You know, it's all very good experience. Just watch and observe. You know, watch how your horse is responding. You know, you might think, my God, this horse is gonna, you know, be in agony, but and sometimes it is the case, especially in these extreme cases. But to be honest, a lot of the time the horses don't flinch. I mean, they're not even worried at all. It doesn't even seem to faze them, and the tissue that is infected has already become non-sensitive. You know, just like when you hit your own thumb with a hammer, it's sensitive when these things are fresh and at the beginning and they're starting. But once your nail falls off and the skin behind your nail is dried up, it's nowhere near as sensitive as it once was. and then hopefully the damage is such that the new nail can reconnect with the tissue behind it, and you can grow a new nail out. So it is the case with the right type of regular hoof care. This problem will grow out, and it's amazing, it will stay reconnected. But it just goes to show and emphasizes the point that regular hoof care is necessary, because if we trim this and treat this, and this hoof wall grows down well connected, if then the horse owner turns the horse out for another year and doesn't upkeep the hoof care, the hoof's gonna grow in the same directions with the same deviations that it always had in its life, and a split's gonna form again. So just goes to highlight the importance of regular hoof care. I mean, in these wet climates that I'm in, New Zealand, where it's always moist, always damp, it's even more important, because these things become infected, and the tissue, the hoof wall and the hoof tissue is already soft and liable to bending and twisting. So, you know, these are the things we have got to be aware of, and prevention is key, and trying to create a situation on your property where at the wettest times of year you're really focused on these things, and they maybe have a yard which is dry to come into for a period of the day, so you can pick them out and they can stand, their feet can aerate out, you can spray them with an antiseptic and it can just soak in, and then you can turn them out again. So, you know, it's not like your farrier is going to be able to sort this out once every 6-8 weeks when you get him to come, and you can't just leave it to your farrier. It needs regular attention by the horse owner. So this is the reason why the vets would get us farriers if they can't do it, to cut this out, because now it's not going to trap dirt. Now we can pick it out, you know, we can run the hoof pick around there, scrape out any mud and dirt and spray it with, you know, the iodine that we're going to treat it with, or any of the thrush busting types of antiseptics. So that's about the extent that I'm going to trim this one back to. Just going to reposition the camera again and finish off this trim by rasping everything smooth, take all these jagged edges off, and this horse is ready to go. Legs a bit loose, a bit floppy. Check our balance. We're not wanting one heel high, the other heel higher than the other. We want them nice and even. So we look down, make sure they're as even as we possibly can make them, and we take our rasp on the smooth side and just take those sharp edges off. Fantastic. So we can see still that it would have created a crack just here as well, which, to be honest, I really want to take out. So I'll take my hoof knife, I'm just gonna, there we go, look, there's a seam of infection there as well. So as you go on, just pay attention to what's going on. Farrier might walk away, or the vet might walk away, and then that becomes a much more severe crack in another 4 to 6 weeks when we return. So, like I say, if you're going to undergo this process, we might as well do it properly. On a half job, these things. Excellent. Bring the foot forwards. Or just smooth these edges off. Thanks for watching.